Things are not looking good for the West Virginia Mountaineer football team, and it doesn't get any easier as the TCU Horned Frogs come to town on homecoming weekend and a coal rush game for the Mountaineers. While the lights might be off a lot during the game, will the lights be off on West Virginia's season after the game? That's what we're going to talk about in this episode of Couz's Corner. And to do that, we're bringing on a special guest to break down TCU, and we're going to have that conversation with Mr. Clint Foster right now. What is up, and welcome into this episode of Couz's Corner, your home for top shelf college sports news and analysis surrounding the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Big 12. Today, we're getting to know the opponent like we do every week, and this week, it is the TCU Horned Frogs who are coming to town. 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock p.m. Central Time tip on ESPN+. To break down this game, we're bringing on a TCU fan and someone who covers the Big 12 over at the Voice of College Football, Mr. Clint Foster. Clint, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, doing great. It's a beautiful Tuesday in the neighborhood out here.
That's right. So, Clint, before we dig into the content, man, and the main topics of the show here, let everybody know where they can find you and your work.
Yeah, well, you can follow me on Twitter. You see it down there at Clint_Foster55. But where I'm doing most of my stuff when I'm not tweeting through my feelings on Saturdays, you'll find me at the Big 12 Voice of College Football page. So that's at Big 12 VOCFB on YouTube. We do a show every Tuesday night, The Biggest 12, where we cover all of the happenings in the conference and have a good time doing it. And I also have a personal YouTube channel at Clint Foster Creations that I have not, admittedly, been very good about putting sketches on this fall. I've been very, very busy, unfortunately. But you will see my award-winning debut feature documentary on there. That's Remember the Alamo Bowl, about TCU's 2015 season and quarterback Graham Kohlhausen coming back from losing both of his legs in more recent history. So highly recommend you check that out.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was actually going to give you a chance to plug that, so thank you for doing that. I didn't make it through the whole thing, but I did watch part of it, and it was very well done, man. Great job on that.
Thank you.
I can tell you put in tons of hours.
I did. It took me about a year.
Crazy.
So
anyway, kudos to you, man, and hopefully it's getting a lot of views.
Yeah, you got about 5,000. So
okay,
and I mean, one of those things where Disney has made sure that I'm not able to monetize it, but I
really
just want to see it and enjoy it. Yeah,
all because of ESPN footage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just for the love of the game at this point. But yeah,
gotcha.
If people see it and they like it, that's really all I'm looking for. Awesome. Pay me in love,
I hear you. All right, man. You obviously are in a much better place with your fandom than I am today. But we all every team goes through their ups and downs. We're in a major valley right now in West Virginia because we're going through a rebuild. I'm not totally out on Rich Rodriguez yet. We're only 7 games in, but just go ahead and from a TCU fan perspective, what do you expect this weekend? I think the last I checked, it was a 14.5 point spread on the game, something like that over at DraftKings. I haven't checked today, but what do you expect this game to be like, and kind of what are you expecting from the Horned Frogs this Saturday?
Yeah, so about a 2 touchdown spread. I think when we did our show on Tuesday, it was 15. But yeah, so I'm of kind of two minds about this. On the one hand, Morgantown terrifies me. Not that I haven't, only ever had good experiences personally there. Right. Wonderful human beings, but TCU historically has not fared very well in Morgantown. Certainly not since about 2016, 2017, whenever we started our little downslide. Now, and TCU has not played particularly well on the road this year. We lost to a bad Kansas State team on the road in a game that we just gave away. But then again, I feel like TCU does have a significant talent advantage. And, Rich Rod, like you said, he's in the midst of a rebuild here. This is a game that we should win, but this is a game that I am fully expecting West Virginia to cover the spread. And I think it's going to be very uncomfortable. It's a night game. It's in Morgantown. And this team has not shown me, we always tend to be more critical of our own teams. I feel like this team has not shown me the discipline, the killer instinct, the focus, the chip on the shoulder that has always made TCU the TCU that we know from the 2000s and the 2010s, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This game is the least scary game on the back end of our schedule, probably, because we still got to go to Provo and we got to play Iowa State and Cincinnati and Houston. A lot of
Wow.
good teams. Yeah. But still, I'm not going into this one overconfident. Let me just say it that way.
Right. Makes sense. I get it. Um, Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind for me as a West Virginia fan is Josh Hoover, right?
Mm.
West Virginia has struggling the last 4 games to cover the pass for whatever reason. They've had communication issues on the back end. Guys in the wrong place, don't know what's going on. UCF had a ton of big plays. Other opponents have had a ton of big plays. Bear Bachmeyer for BYU had several big plays in the past game. And then Josh Hoover comes in, who's probably, I don't even think it's arguable, the best quarterback West Virginia's faced so far. That worries me a little bit. What can you tell us about Josh Hoover, how he's playing this year, and then talk a little bit about his receivers that he has to throw the ball to as well?
Yeah, well, Josh Hoover is very talented. There's no doubt about it. He's a great kid. I've never gotten to meet him personally, but he seems like a great kid and solid intangible, solid leadership qualities. He's played a lot better at home than he has on the road. I mean, he had 2 boneheaded interceptions and a fumble against Kansas State. We started very strong against Arizona State, and then the offense just disappeared. But that was also a credit to how poorly the offensive line played. Really, the offensive line has been the biggest weak spot on this offense by far. And it was encouraging against Baylor this past week to see them play by far their best game of the season. They really did level up in that game, albeit against a pretty poor Baylor front seven. But yeah, you talk about weapons, and Josh Hoover has a lot of weapons. Certainly, Eric McAllister is at the top of that list. Eric McAllister is a guy who absolutely has to be involved in the TCU game plan, regardless of who we're playing. And you've seen times when he was injured or when we weren't intentional about getting him the ball, the offense did suffer. He is a deep threat. He's going to go up and high point the ball wherever he's at, and he's hell to cover. And there's a lot of depth elsewhere at the receiver position. We've had flashes from Ed Small, a true freshman, as well as Joseph Manjack and Chase Curtis and DJ Rogers and the kid from Idaho whose name is escaping me, but a lot of good receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And TCU does like to spread out the ball. In fact, TCU passes probably a little bit more than a lot of Frog fans would like, because we have a very solid bell cow running back from UTSA, Kavorian Barnes, who has just been an absolute revelation this season. And he's another guy that when you get him the ball, when you get him involved in the game plan, which is something that we refused to do in the second half against Kansas State, right? He is a game changer for you. He is very patient, got excellent vision, finding holes, and he runs angry. He really runs angry. If West Virginia fans remember Amani Bailey from a couple years ago, I feel like Kavorian Barnes has a similar running style, except for he actually waits for the hole to open. Right,
Gotcha.
like Amani Bailey would just slam his face into a brick wall at 1,000 miles an hour, and like sometimes he's going to squirt through, right? But Kavorian Barnes, he's actually patient enough to see the flow of the blocking, and then he hits that hole, kicks into that second gear. A very violent runner. He's very, very fun to watch.
Makes sense. And I knew going into this season, you and I talked during the offseason a little bit, and I knew going in that was one of the big question marks.
Yeah.
Because that was a weak spot for TCU last year, was running the football. I mean, they even put wide receivers in the backfield. They did everything.
That might be an understatement.
From a TCU, so it sounds like TCU finally found themselves a running back.
It's just a matter of, will Kendall Briles trust him from week to week, right?
Yeah.
He didn't trust him enough. He didn't trust the running game enough against Kansas State. But all of a sudden against Baylor, he did it, and we ran for almost 200 yards.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. What as far as your offensive line goes at TCU, how have they looked so far this year? I know you and I talked a little bit before the show. You know, you said they had their best game of the year so far against Baylor. Before that game, had there been some issues there, or
yeah,
to that?
Truly so I tweeted something to this effect in the midweek last season. Anytime you talk about TCU offensive line for basically the past 3 years since that 2022 season, it's like Vietnam flashbacks. It's PTSD. It's like, oh my God, like nothing good has happened from that position group, and it's caused a lot of problems, right? And you know, this is a group that played very well against North Carolina, but that's not saying very much, obviously. And then they really were not impressive until this past week. They struggled mightily in pass protection. I mean, Arizona State was getting home with 3 and 4 without much issue.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, Ryan Hughes goes down, one of our starting right tackles, and they've started to finally find that physicality a little bit. And they do very well. At least they did against Baylor. They do very, very well pulling. As an offensive line coach and offensive coordinator at the middle school level, nothing gets me going quite like a pulling guard. And we're doing that very well right now. Hopefully they're kicking it into that second gear because we've got a lot of inexperience on the tackles, but guys that seem like they could be promising, and some quality guys in the middle that just hadn't quite put it together until this last week. So we'll see if they're able to continue to block effectively and be physical and move the line of scrimmage in Morgantown. That's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, because from a West Virginia side of things, West Virginia has struggled to get pressure on the quarterback for whatever reason. First 3 or 4 games of the year, man, our defense was actually playing really well. And then all of a sudden, the offense has been struggling all year, but the defense was keeping West Virginia in games. Well, about halftime of the Kansas game, which was game 4 of the season, first Big 12 game, that all changed, man. And the defense, for whatever reason, has all of a sudden become like a sieve. And one of the problems there has been lack of pressure on the quarterback. According to ESPN, West Virginia did have a sack in the UCF game as a team, but it doesn't show what player got the sack. So I don't think they got one. I was listening to another show that said they didn't get one, and I know they didn't have any the previous 2 games. So it looks like they have not had a sack in 3 games. They've been
if you want to get right game in the pass rush, it may be against us.
Maybe so. Maybe this is the game the defense finally does. The problem is though with Josh Hoover, West Virginia may have to blitz to get that pressure. Zach Alley likes to bring blitzes from all different places, all different positions, corner, safety, middle linebacker, you name it. He likes to be multiple there, but likes to mix it up to keep the offense guessing. But what worries me with a quarterback like Josh Hoover is he may pick them apart if they try to blitz him too much. How good is he at passing under pressure when being blitzed?
Well, I think it depends on the game situation. I know that's really not an answer that you're looking for, but I feel like in a lot of these 2 losses on the road that TCU had, it really looked to me, especially like late in those games, that Josh Hoover was pressing, right? I've got a young quarterback on one of my middle school teams that does the same thing. When he's in a situation, he wants to try and win it himself, right? He's only looking deep. He's not going through his progressions. He's trying to heave it over the top to Eric McAllister, whether it's there or not. And that's when he gets himself into trouble, right? And when he was under pressure at Arizona State, he did not perform well under it at all. But he is very talented. He can move, actually. He's kind of deceptively fast. He reminds me almost of Andy Dalton in that way, where it's like, oh, all of a sudden he's gone, 7 yards and like it kind of blinked. He doesn't really look fast, but he can move around in the pocket. He can buy time, and he's got a very accurate arm, incredible arm. Whether or not, he handled pressure well. He's handled pressure well at home. We've played easier opponents at home so far, but it's going to be something that I'm going to watch with great interest. I feel like this is another good test, another good measuring stick as he continues to grow.
Yeah.
He's only a junior.
Right. Oh gosh, don't remind me. Good grief. Yeah. Maybe he'll go to the draft. Staying on that side of the ball for a minute, you touched on McAllister. The wide receiver unit as a whole, are they good at getting separation on the backs, on the corners and safeties, or no?
I would say so. I mean, and we've got a lot of guys with different skill sets. Both Jordan Dwyer and Eric McAllister can burn you deep. Ed Small is a terrific route runner. He gets very good separation. Ed Small's big issue against Kansas State was he just had a lot of drops. He had a lot of balls that hit him right in the basket, and he just dropped them. Freshman mistakes. But yeah, there's a lot of guys with a lot of talent. Joseph Manjak's another possession type receiver who runs very good routes. He's the guy who you're going to look and be like, why is that guy wearing no gloves and no accoutrement of any type? Right? It's a very bizarre thing to see in this day and age of football. But he's
I like
out there.
It,
he's
honestly.
A baller. Yeah.
That's the way I played.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But yeah, I think that TCU is very talented in its receiver room, very talented. And you see that, I mean, if you look at box scores, we spread the ball around very well.
Yeah. We're going to flip sides of the ball here in a second, but before we do, I do have to give a quick shout out to a sponsor here, Clint. So we'll be right back in about, minute and a half. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code COUZ. That's code COUZ to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. All right. Thank you for letting me pay the bills. And thank you, Clint, for being patient. Let's flip sides of the ball.
Let's do it.
TCU's defense. What are they like? What can West Virginia fans expect to see?
Well, let me first say this, is that Khalil Wilkins, I like a lot what I've seen from him. And you can go ahead and stop me and tell me I'm crazy, but he gives me kind of flashes of Pat White a little bit. I'm kind of seeing that old Rich Rod zone read quarterback, maybe potentially budding in Khalil Wilkins. But as far as TCU's defense goes, I have been very complimentary of this defense all season, probably more so than anyone else I have talked to. I think this truly is the best defense that Sonny Dykes has had at TCU. Andy Avalos has done a tremendous job putting talent in good positions, and he brings blitzes. I'm not sold on the 3-3-5 as a concept still yet. I've spent too much time devoting my life as a fan to the 4-2-5, but Andy Avalos is very effective in the way that he blitzes and the way that he brings pressure. We've got a very solid group of linebackers and edge rushers, and probably, again, the best defensive line that we've had since Sonny Dykes has been here. Some very solid guys up front and good safeties as well. If we have a weakness, our corners have not been exceptional. But also, I think that our defense has been put in a lot of bad situations, specifically in the games that we've lost or late in that Baylor game after 3 lightning delays, where it's like the offense is not able to sustain drives. The offense is going 3 and out, and then your defense is back on the field. And we all know how that goes eventually.
West Virginia's been dealing with that all year.
Eventually, your defense is going to get got. So I have a lot of faith in TCU's defense. But again, if you can pick up these corners, if you can get these corners in single coverage, right, like Arizona State was able to do, or sometimes they just leave tight ends wide open. We've seen that happen multiple times this season. There can be miscues in the secondary. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the good thing for TCU fans is West Virginia does not throw the ball down the field enough to have to worry about it. So, example, last game against UCF, West Virginia threw the ball 28 times, averaged less than 4 yards per attempt. Actually, I think it was less than 3 yards, about 4 yards per attempt. I think is what it averaged out to between the two quarterbacks.
Brother, those are Big Ten numbers. What are y'all doing over there?
11 for 28 for 4 yards per attempt. Ballpark.
Yeah.
They just don't throw it down the field. Now, I don't know what there are multiple reasons for that. The offensive line has struggled really badly, but the offensive line has actually struggled more in the run game than they have the pass game. But I think we had quarterback injuries. We're down to our 4th or 5th quarterback now. You mentioned Wilkins. He's a redshirt freshman. Scotty Fox is a true freshman. Wilkins is actually questionable for this game because he got hurt in the UCF game. So Scotty Fox, the true freshman, will likely be starting. We might even see a walk-on get some snaps because all the quarterbacks ahead of him. are injured, or at least have been injured and haven't been able to practice much. So, it's been rough at the quarterback spot, but quarterbacks are not they're bailing too fast at times too. When the O-line does give them a little bit of a pocket, they don't hang in there long enough to take advantage of it. They bail and want to roll out because they can all run fairly well, so they want to try to use that. I think they get nervous and they bail too quickly. And honestly, I think too, I think our receivers have struggled to get open enough down the field. So I think it's a combination of things. We do have Cam Vaughn, who's a very explosive and talented wide receiver, but unfortunately, we don't really have anybody to complement him on the other side. So teams have just been double teaming him and taking him away. So they're having to throw it to slot receivers and throw screens and short stuff to the tight ends and all that because they just haven't been able to do anything down the field. Mm-hmm. So maybe this is the game that changes. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if you say TCU's weakness is their corners. Maybe West Virginia can try to exploit that a little bit. Maybe Scotty Fox is more comfortable now that he's had some experience. Who knows? Maybe the O-line improves. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I don't have a ton of confidence just because I haven't seen it yet. You mentioned the edge rushers. What do the edge rushers look like? I mean, can you go in a little bit more detail about what you've got there?
Yeah, we get several. So obviously with a 3-3-5, a lot of those are linebackers.
Right.
Devin Deal is the one that you're going to see the most. He's very solid coming off that edge. He also is the brother of Marcus Deal, who's our best nose tackle by a wide margin. 300 some odd plus guy, nice plug up holes in the middle. Other guys who rush the ball, Caleb Elam's-Orr has been having a very fantastic season. He's not exclusively a rushing linebacker. He also will drop back into coverage, but he's been playing fantastic. He's a Cal transfer, if I remember correctly. And there's several more guys that we rotate in there. The main three linebackers that you're going to see, though, are Elam's-Orr, Devin Deal, and then Nnamdi Obiizor, who's like, a 8th-year senior at this point at middle linebacker.
I knew I'd heard that name before.
Yeah. He was on that team a few years back. So, and I think he might actually, that might have been, he was like shifting around between safety and linebacker in that season. But yeah, those are definitely the top three. But you'll also see Max Carroll. I'm searching for other names off the top of my head. But yeah, those are the big ones.
Yeah. West Virginia has struggled, like I said, pretty much across the board on the O-line, but primarily in the run game. Just cannot get push up front. What is, maybe the fact that they're running a 3-3-5 helps.
Yeah.
Because it's one less guy to block. But
I mean, truly, yeah. I was complaining about this against Baylor with one of my friends. I'm like, this is why the 3-3-5 frustrates me as a concept, because you're basically surrendering at least 4 yards to every run play, right? I mean, unless you just happen to blitz the exact right gap, you're just 3 versus 5 is not. The math isn't mathing.
Right. Well, yeah, technically, I mean, I guess technically your linebacker should be filling that gap, like you say, but they have to know what gap to fill, right?
Right.
So a lot of that probably comes down to just eye discipline by the linebackers, right? Quick to move. You have to have linebackers who have speed and quickness and can get to the football. I think that's because West Virginia has played the 3-3-5 a lot over the years too.
Yeah.
So it used to frustrate the crap out of me as well. But then there were some years their defense was elite playing a 3-3-5. So it's like, there are times it can work, but man, you better have, if you don't have elite linebacker play, I don't even want to say elite. If you don't have very good linebacker play in the middle, it does not work. Like that is the most critical, that and that, what West Virginia used to call it I guess they call it a spear, something like that. It's kind of like a nickel safety type spot. Yeah. That they move around. Mm-hmm. That guy and your middle linebacker to me are like the two most important guys in a 3-3-5 defense. Is TCU getting good play from those guys?
We do have good safety play. Jamel Johnson has been fantastic this season. He was one who it was looking like he was going to transfer, but we were able to retain him, and he has been awesome. And then we, of course, have Bud Clark as our other big safety, who's, again, like a freaking
he's an all Big 12.
Yeah. Very, very, very solid player. Those are the two big ones. And we've also gotten play from Javon MacGyver and man, you're like quizzing me. I'm like trying to remember.
It's okay. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to list off all of them.
Yeah, but yeah, we've gotten solid play from the safeties for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. You mentioned a nose tackle already. Is there anything else on the TCU defense that you haven't mentioned yet that needs to, do you think stands out?
Yeah, I should mention Paul Oyewole, who's I think he's a senior at this point. I mean, who knows what classification anybody is, but he's a defensive end. He's a guy who's struggled with a lot of injuries in his career, and he's been playing very, very well now that he's actually fully healthy and he's been in the lineup. Another solid pass rusher. In fact, against Baylor, he recovered his own forced fumble on a run play. So he's a very good looking kid,
Mm-hmm.
right? Physically imposing, and he's been playing very well on the edge as well.
What this is kind of
Zach
off topic.
Chapman is another one. Zach Chapman,
okay.
Another good defensive end. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What this is kind of off topic. What is TCU's NIL situation like at the moment?
Can you be more specific? It's like, I don't know what everybody's making, if that's for sure.
Well, I don't mean specific. I mean as a team. Do you think they're as far as do you think they're in the upper half of the Big 12, the upper third, bottom third? What are you thinking?
Well, on a scale of Kent State to Cody Campbell, I feel like we're probably like middle of the road. I do know that we need to we are compensating kids at the skill positions. I know that we've compensated Josh Hoover well. As from what I have heard, there's been a little bit of a slow transition now that we're not doing the NIL collectives anymore, trying to figure out exactly who's going to be negotiating with agents and who's going to be doing the contracts, this, that, and the other thing. I do know that the word from the program is we are going to pay our players with revenue sharing at the highest possible level.
Right.
With any luck, some of that money will go to offensive line in the very near future. That's what I'm really looking
buddy.
for.
That's everybody in Morgantown's been saying the same thing. So
yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't have any insider information that's worth anything with regard to this, but we seem to be doing just as well as anybody else, but not as good as Tech. But who is?
Right. But Tech and I think BYU's doing pretty well too.
Yeah, well, BYU,
but,
yeah.
I think we're all chasing them in the league right now, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But anything on special teams that is noteworthy?
Yes, our starting kicker has been injured for almost the entire season. He's had a groin injury, so we've been playing with a backup kicker, and basically, we don't appear to have any faith in him at all. He missed a couple of kicks early in the season, so if this is a situation where if it's a 2014 situation and it's coming down to a field goal, TCU ain't winning this game. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
I got you.
Okay, so that's definitely a point of weakness. But we do have a good punter. We have a good, and I mean, I say good. Sometimes he's great, and sometimes it's what the hell. So I guess he's an average punter.
What about your return game? How is it? Decent, good, great, bad,
solid? What? Not quite as electric as it's been in the past at TCU. TCU has a very strong history of just electric, amazing returners. Yeah. Cavante Turpin ain't walking through that door. Jeremy Curley ain't walking through that door. But we have some fast guys. There's a kid from Amarillo, Major something. His name's escaping me. He's got a lot of speed. And we've had also Jordan Dwyer, and has also been punt returning some.
Okay.
So they're capable. They're capable.
Yeah. Okay.
That kid from Amarillo is probably the best one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, not quite on the same level as in the past.
Okay. Yeah. Fortunately, again for TCU fans, West Virginia is absolutely horrible on fourth downs. So if TCU goes for it on fourth down, it should be a good day for the Frogs.
Well, there you go. Well, we have not been very good on third down on defense. Until this last game, we had a pretty bad third down percentage. We very bend but don't break.
Yeah, that's the way West Virginia they're stopping people on third down, but they can't stop them. UCF had 2 long touchdown passes or plays. I think one may have been, I can't remember. 2 long touchdown plays on fourth down.
Yeah.
But West Virginia stopped them twice on 4th and short.
That's so freaking irritating. Like, that's the stuff that just drives you crazy.
That's the reason I don't have any hair. I mean, my God. I'd have probably pulled it out if I did.
Major Everhart's that.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that name, actually.
Yeah.
Was he there last year?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. He's probably like a junior at this point, probably.
Because I think I remember him maybe playing against us either last year or year before, whenever we played you guys last.
Yeah, he's been a reserve receiver for most of his career. And we were just so freaking deep at that position every year. So it's just hard to get a lot of reps.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
All right. Well, do you have any questions for me before we call it a night?
Well, I guess my question is, I mean, you're giving me a little too much confidence right now. So my question is,
West Virginia is one of the worst teams in the country, and I'm
my
not.
question is,
I'm just being honest.
yeah.
They're horrible.
Well, my question is, whenever I get my heart broken and we pull a TCU in Morgantown, like, am I going to be? Is there going to be compensation for my loss? Is what I'm trying.
Not for me. Now you might have to call your doctor or your insurance
Yeah.
company. I don't know.
Yeah.
But put it this way: losing this game would be embarrassing to TCU. I just put it that way.
Yeah.
So you better hope it don't happen.
I wouldn't put it past us then.
I mean, it is the Big 12.
Yeah.
It is college football, and strange things do happen. West Virginia did find a way to beat Pitt. Not that Pitt's a great team, but
we love to see it. Though
they've looked pretty good since then. Now that they got a different quarterback. But
I get a lot of potential upset vibes from this week. I was talking about it on the Biggest 12. Like, BYU is a significantly better team than Iowa State right now, but I would not be the least bit stinking surprised. They're walking into Ames, and Iowa State has ruined many an undefeated season. Like, I would not be the least bit surprised if that happened. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Houston takes Arizona State to overtime, and they're having a Texas Tech hangover, and they find a way to beat them. It's just the Big 12, like you say. It's a fun freaking conference. And it is an anxiety-inducing conference to be a fan in.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not trying to make excuses for the team or whine or anything, but here's a list of the injuries West Virginia's dealing with. Star running back Jaheim White, preseason All Big 12 guy, out for the season. His backup, Ty Edwards, who ran for 141 yards against Pitt, that's the only game he played in any significant snaps. Now he's out for the season. Our second best receiver, Jaden Bray, who was kind of the complementary piece to Cam Vaughn on the other side, had 2 great games to start the year. Then, boom, he's out for the season. With the matter of fact, same injury he had last year that kept him out for the season. Same foot, I believe, even. Nico Markiel, starting quarterback, he's out for the season. His backup, Jalen Henderson, has been out for the last 2 games. Now Khalil Wilkins, the third-string quarterback, is questionable.
My gosh.
One of the other backup quarterbacks, Max Brown, played 2 snaps in a game and got hurt. So he's been out. Our starting nose tackle missed last week with an injury. Now probably our best defensive player, our safety Fred Perry, he's questionable.
Man,
and there's more. That's not only are you going through a rebuild, and the team was struggling anyway. I mean, they weren't great with those guys. They were struggling with those guys in the lineup. Then you add all that in there. It's just like, man, Rich Rod said this is the second worst season of his career when it comes to injuries. Like he's never brutal. It's just like the bad luck just never ends. But
I mean, I guess if there's a silver lining to all that, though, if you're in a rebuild year anyway, I guess you're giving reps to these depth guys. It's only going to make them better and make you more deep as you continue to build.
That's the hope, right? Now,
theoretically,
some of our depth guys are seniors, so that won't matter. But there are younger guys, like at the quarterback spot, for example. Those guys are being thrown to the fire already. Yeah. We've got 2 young running backs are now being thrown to the fire because of the injuries at that position. There's a couple guys on defense that have been thrown to the fire. So that's a great point, and I think that is a silver lining to this, is those guys are being forced to be ready sooner, and assuming they're able to keep them on the roster, that should be a plus going into next year, you'd hope.
Yeah, and even if they don't end up starting, then they're just going to push the starters to be better because they have that game time.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, well, Clint, man, appreciate you coming on the show, everybody. Again, check his stuff out over at the Big 12 channel over at the Voice of College Football. It's at VOCFB at Big B12.
Big 12, yeah.
Yeah, you go ahead and say it because I don't know it.
Big 12 VOCFB at Big 12 VOCFB. Okay. I'm 20 subscribers away from 1,000. So y'all come over there, hit that subscribe button, help me out, and we'll have a good time every Tuesday.
Go hit him up, and he does great work over there. And he also don't forget, go check him out at Clint Foster on his Clint Foster channel on YouTube, where he does some skits, and then he talks about the short film that he did. The documentary, I guess, on Remember the Alamo Bowl, about TCU's 2015 season. Is that right?
Yeah, 2015 season, and the quarterback from that game who had the 31-point comeback against Oregon, he has since lost his legs, so he's had to learn to walk again. So it's that story as well. And I
Awesome.
am actually, so that's a feature documentary. I just finished a treatment for a short film documentary that I'm going to start working on whenever I have spare time about TCU's 1971 season when head coach Jim Pittman died of a heart attack during the Baylor game, and basically set TCU off on 20 years of just heartbreak and struggle and misery. So I'm going to talk to some guys from that 71 team and kind of unpack that a little bit.
Okay. Well, so go check out his work on both channels. Check him out on X, Twitter, at Clint_Foster55 if you want to communicate with him. And again, go subscribe to his channel. And if you're a TCU fan watching and you haven't subscribed to Couz's Corner, please do so here on YouTube. I am 54, 55, something like that away from 10,000. So please help me get there. I really appreciate you. And if you're listening on podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review and follow us. We appreciate the support. We appreciate you tuning in. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf. And even though West Virginia's struggling, I will always end with this. Q Country Roads.
Go Frogs, baby.